Our politically incorrect segment tonight, conservative students at UC Berkeley are threatening to sue if the school prevents Ann Coulter from speaking this week. School officials told the Berkeley College Republicans that Coulter's speech was being canceled due to security concerns. But the college Republicans are crying foul, claiming Berkeley is simply trying to shut down conservative viewpoints. And the students have found an unlikely ally in their fight for free speech, Senator Bernie Sanders. He says Coulter should be allowed to speak on campus without fear of violence or intimidation. With me now, Digital Director at the Young America's Foundation, Spencer Brown. Spencer, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Spencer, so I want to go through this. I want to make sure I have the facts straight here. So it was your organization, the Young America's Foundation, who invited Ann Coulter to speak on Berkeley's campus originally, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's one of the hundreds of campus lectures that Young America's Foundation puts on across the country every academic year.
All right, so once you invited her, you notified the school far in advance. Ann Coulter had bought her tickets. You know, she'd made arrangements to come here, written her speech, she said, and it was only after all that had occurred, right before she was supposed to actually speak, that the school came back and said, no, she can't speak here because we don't have adequate security for her.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's something that we've seen time and time again where these leftist administrations will go to extreme lengths at times in order to prevent a conservative from being heard on these campuses. And so in this case, they're citing security concerns, which is something that we're just not buying, considering the other objective rules that they've placed on this.
Right, because it is a double standard. I mean, I don't think anyone's arguing that it's not a double standard. Liberal speakers on campus do not face these types of requests, do not face this type of harassment or even violence that we've seen actually on your campus, on UC Berkeley in the past here. Reports are saying, or your organization is saying, that you're going to sue the school now if they do not provide the security for Ann Coulter when she speaks this week as originally planned. What are your grounds for a lawsuit here?
Exactly. So we actually filed the lawsuit this morning in a federal court in the District for Northern California. And the basis for this lawsuit is that UC Berkeley has essentially nullified the First Amendment for conservative students on their campus. And so what they've done is said that conservative speech is not welcome, and they've gone to these lengths such as leveraging unconstitutional security fees, putting these viewpoint discriminatory standards on the school, or excuse me, on the college Republicans that are there. And so what we see is they are essentially just saying the First Amendment does not apply to conservatives. You're not welcome, you won't have a platform, and we don't care what happens.
Wow, you guys are really on the front lines of this fight for free speech. It's remarkable to watch because it is so obvious to me, at least, that the discrimination is being aimed at conservatives and not at liberals here. But did the college respond to your lawsuit filing?
We have yet to get an official response from UC Berkeley at this point, but it stands to reason that if they've gone this far, it's going to be a long fight probably in order to figure out what it's going to take to restore the First Amendment to this campus.
Right, and talk to me a little bit about the heckler's veto, because that's essentially what's happened here in my opinion. Security is the new shut up, if you will. You know, if they can point to something and say, oh, you won't be secure here. It's not so much that we're trying to stifle you, we're trying to protect you. That seems a bit Orwellian to me, to be honest.
No, I think you're exactly right. The heckler's veto is exactly what we're seeing in this case, where the school is saying, look, our campus has been under siege by these radical leftists lately, and so because these leftists might decide to riot just because there's a conservative on the campus, we're just going to shut down your speech. And that's frankly unconstitutional, and that's something that we mentioned in our lawsuit as well. And it seems insane to me that the school has decided, when they know that there are these threats to students and to conservatives on their campus, that they choose to shut down the conservatives rather than the protesters. You'd think it would be the other way around, or if they have these specific threats, they would be saying, okay, let's shut down these essentially thugs who are laying siege to our campus and actually allow the First Amendment to go on their campus.
Right, because they have a choice here. They can either suppress the violence or they can suppress free speech, and it's shocking to me, I guess not surprising in a sense, but always shocking that when they choose to suppress someone's right to express themselves or to hold whatever political viewpoint they choose, it's also doing a disservice, I think, to you guys, to your group, and to the students on campus, not to expose you, not to allow you to educate yourself on whatever political viewpoint you so choose to bring your speaker in to talk to you about.
Yeah, I think that's something, like I mentioned before, we see at Young America's Foundation a lot, where I don't think these students, and maybe not even these administrators, realize the disservice that's being done on these campuses. By allowing only liberal speakers, they create this echo chamber on their campus where conservative viewpoints are never heard. The leftist students are never forced to defend their own beliefs or what they think they believe, and so then they go out into the real world and aren't even able to have constructive discussion about why they believe what they believe.
Right, and talk to me for a minute about your administration here, because I know the argument from the left, at least, has been that these radical groups came from outside of campus, and this was, of course, during the riots when Milo Yiannopoulos was supposed to speak a month or two ago, but that these radical groups are not affiliated with the school, they're not affiliated with the students at the school, and the administration has condemned the radical groups. But do you feel that the administration is trying to shut down your free speech too, or are they just being cowards in not stopping this opposition?
Yeah, I mean, they've said so much about these groups, and they seem to know which groups are responsible. They seem to know what sort of situations set them off. So it seems ridiculous that they're not taking the action. You've got the University of California Police Department there. You've got the local police in Berkeley. You know, there's plenty of assets there that could be used in order to protect students and allow conservative speakers to have an equal platform as the liberal speakers do on that campus.
Right, but of course we know that's not what they want to do. They want conservatives to live in fear of expressing our viewpoints so that it would get to the point that we don't even dare to say anything and their viewpoints win. Spencer, Ann Coulter, as you know, of course, is still planning on speaking on Thursday. Please check back with us as this continues to unfold, because I hope it's not, but I think it's going to be very messy. Thanks for being here today.